It's midday right here in Lagos, Nigeria. Welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters. I'm Jeffrey Uzong. It's the 23rd day of March 2026. That means we have exactly about 1 month to the beginning of activities around the primaries, resolution of dispute, and all of that will run from the 23rd of April, or April the 23rd to May the 30th. And every window will be closed officially by INEC. As far as by then we'll know who is the flag bearer of which political party across the country. Right now we have about 21 of them with the registration of new political parties, about 2 of them. But let's tell you what has been happening in terms of the build-up to these primaries and even some national convention. The PDP is planning a national convention. The Wiki-led group is planning a national convention. The APC is planning a national convention. So literally, everybody's trying to put their house in order so that when it gets to that primaries, the highest is going to be either a consensus candidate or direct primaries. We'll know who is going to be the flag bearer of which party. But let's tell you about the People's Democratic Party. Under the leadership of Abdurrahman Mohammed Caretaker Committee are reaffirming their commitment to the success of the elective convention scheduled for the 28th and 29th of March 2026. Addressing news conference in Abuja, the National Publicity Secretary of the Caretaker Committee, Mr. Jogundu Mohammed, says the party is organizing the convention on the strength of the latest judgment of the appeal court.
Let it be clearly stated that the position of the courts on the leadership of the PDP remains unequivocal. The judgments of the Federal High Court and the Appeal Court have affirmed the legitimacy and authority of the National Caretaker Working Committee as the body duly recognized to steer the affairs of the party at this time. These judicial pronouncements are binding and remain in full force. We therefore urge all members of our party and the general public to be guided accordingly and disregard any contrary claims or misleading narratives. It is, however, deeply concerning that certain individuals have continued to take steps aimed at undermining the stability and progress of our party. We are aware of moves by this group led by Kabiru Tanimu Turaki, SAN, to approach courts in Ibadan in a bid to secure an injunction to halt the forthcoming national convention. This is particularly unfortunate given that the leadership of the party had in good faith extended several invitations and opportunities for reconciliation and dialogue. Regrettably, these overtures were ignored as the state faction failed to present itself for meaningful engagement.
Let's talk about what played out in Kano State, where it was agog at the weekend with the annual Konkosia event, a platform used to mobilize youth and community members for politics and other social activities. Former Labour Party presidential candidate Mr. Peter Obi, the governor of Oyo State, Mr. Seyi Makinde, and former governor of Bayelsa State, Seriake Dixon, were among the special dignitaries that attended that particular event.
In spirit of the Salah to pay courtesy call and respect to Kwankwaso. You can see the atmosphere in Kano showing that the people are with him and the people desire change. All we are saying, we want to build a united Nigeria where there will be security of life and property. We can have peace, invest in pulling people out of poverty. Kano is critical to that type of leadership.
Well, let's also tell you what played out in Lagos, where the president has hosted the progressive governors and some other governors as well, because we saw the governor of Abia State, Dr. Alex Oti, among the persons who paid him a visit at his private residence in Lagos. He's here for the Salah break, after the Ramadan fast. He's here for the Ramadan. He celebrated Ramadan right here in Lagos, Nigeria, and so there has been several visits to his residence. This was done by a lot of the governors, about 23 governors in total, including the governor of Abia State, where the president raised issues around the concern over state policing as a panacea to solving national security problems.
The next phase of our struggle is staring us in the face. It's the challenge of insecurity in this country. And I'm making all the efforts to ensure it is us collectively that we share the joy and be proud of, victory over tyranny. One of the major discussions in UK is equipment and support. I can report to you, yesterday again, I had a lengthy discussion with Emmanuel Macron. Their collaboration with us for equipment and support, while I'm making effort, frantic effort to contact other nations. If we have to spend our goodwill and line of credit, we have those who are willing to support us with equipment and training.
So this is the president, it's been a while. I saw this level of acknowledgement indirectly by the president that this is beyond what just Nigeria can handle. Whatever help and wherever it is coming from, it is totally welcome. And I think when we come to that point of realization, perhaps it's a step in the right direction that keep denying that we have maybe the capacity to do it all by ourselves. But, depending on who you're talking to, the opinion is divided. Let's bring in my guest, Mr. Jide Ojo, who is a public affairs and political affairs analyst. Mr. Ojo, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure.
I want us to touch on governance before we talk on politics, and that governance has to do with the national security concern. They've been talking, the APC has 31 governors, over 260 or so members of the House of Reps, over 80 members of the Senate, and so overwhelming majority across board. So given what Nigeria is all about, as soon as the governors are in charge of a state, the state assembly are literal appendages, so they can get a lot of things done at accelerated speed. But the president is also saying that he's seeking, collaboration across board. He's spoken with the UK, he's spoken with Emmanuel Macron, he's speaking with as many people that are ready to offer. What do you make of this new position and his new nuance?
Geoffrey, no country is an island, and you actually need international and global support to tackle whatever challenge you face, whether it's economic challenge or military or insecurity, as it were. And Nigeria faces multi-pronged challenges. We have economic challenges, we have security challenges, we have political challenges. So those three stares us in the face. We are preparing for this 8th general elections. By this time next year, we will have the 8th general election is expected to have been done and dusted. But we know our elections are not where it should be. It's still suboptimal, subpar. Economic, we see rising cost of living, we see high inflation, food inflation, headline inflation, is still on the rise. And no thanks to the Middle East crisis, the Gulf War currently ongoing, you can see Nigerians are now paying about 500 naira more than they were paying as at February 28th for a liter of petrol. And that of aviation fuel is 100%. That of diesel is almost say 70–80% increase. So we are facing existential cost of living crisis. But top on the agenda is the security challenge. Over the weekend, we heard that insurgents or bandits also went to an Ekwa church to abduct some parishioners there yesterday. This has been a recurring decimal, if not in the northeast, it's in the north central, it's in the northwest. Even southwest, last week, Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria, 4 cocoa farmers were abducted by suspected bandits. Thankfully, they have all been rescued. But how long can we continue along this trajectory? When there is security challenge, there cannot be development. We know that for certain. Physical challenge will be far from a country that is not, that is not secured. Foreign direct investment will be far from a country that is not secured. There will be divestment of foreign investors from countries that are not secured. So these multi-pronged approaches has necessitated Mr. President having to approach different countries from Turkey to US to UK to France to come to our aid. And I do hope that we can make the best of this global support. But we still need many more countries to chip in their support because, sincerely speaking, Geoffrey, if Nigeria goes down, the African continent will go down. Nigeria has over 200 million population. Is the largest, is the most populated country in Africa. So a humanitarian crisis by Nigeria alone will create ripple effect across the whole West African sub-region, Central Africa, and even Southern Africa. So it's best to give Nigeria that global support to strengthen our military, to strengthen our security, counter-terrorism, so that Nigeria can remain on its feet. We bear the biggest burden of ECOWAS in this sub-region. We host the ECOWAS secretariat. We are the biggest funder of ECOWAS since 1975. So if Nigeria is in crisis, it cannot meet its regional and continental and global commitments, whether at the United Nations level or at the continental level in Africa or at the West African sub-region. So it is very important for the global community to listen to the cry of Nigerian president and to come forth with substantial and sincere support to help us overcome our security challenge.
If we have time, we'll come back to the issue of governance. Let's get straight to politics, because for us as citizens, we're tired of talk. There's too much talk. Even when the president reached riot, I remember vividly what he talked about when he was presenting the 2026 budget last year. It was like, this is no longer going to be business. Some of us were very happy, like, in case the bandits are thinking otherwise, but next year is going to be not going to be business as usual. Now, this year, 2026, we're 3 months in, we're having record numbers. We're having wartime debt toll. Countries that are even at war don't even have some of the numbers we have in terms of abduction and death. So let's see action more than talk. But let's talk about politics. You've seen what has been playing out, and this is quite interesting. Alignment and realignments. We saw Kwankwaso hosting Peter Obi, hosting Seriake Dixon. I know that Obi, for instance, is registered with the ADC. NDC has been found by Mr. Seriake Dixon. Kwankwaso is still holding on to the end of his own NNPP. His only governor has now left the party to join the ruling party. Is there something you can make out of this new form of alignment and where this is going exactly? Between both of them, we're looking at 7.1 million votes, potentially from previous election. Whether that will play out is a different kettle of fish.
Well, I think it's a welcome development. it's a welcome development because Nigeria actually have not been very confident in ADC. ADC is still in a push and pull situation. Court decisions are still being expected. There are factions within ADC right now. And if you listen to Bolaji Abdullahi, he said there are efforts to pressure INEC to recognize the other faction, which is the faction that belongs to their former presidential candidate. What's his name? Kachuku. And then you know the Jide, the House of Reps member. Why am I forgetting their names?
Leke Abejide.
Leke Abejide and Kachuku are working in KAU together, and they are giving, Aregbesola and David Mark a run for their money. So the situation is quite dicey. As you said in your opener, by this time next month, party primaries gate will have opened, and any political party out of the 21 can start to conduct their party primaries. So time is running out. A lot of parties are doing what they call the congresses and convention, whether you are talking of PDP factions, the faction belonging to Wike are pressing ahead. They've already scheduled their convention for end of this month. APC, the ruling party, is going to have its own convention for this week from 25th to 28th. Some other parties are having their own as well. So it's a very busy period. It's not only that, they are also having their membership revalidation and registration, which is also always. So multiple activities are going on among the different political parties. But the bigger picture is working alliance. Peter Obi said in Enugu, I guess, last week or thereabout, that he's not sure of getting the ADC ticket, which is why he's possibly seeking different alliances with Kwakwanso, Rabi Musa Kwakwanso. We know that recently when Kwakwanso went to Ibadan, he actually had a tete-a-tete with Governor Seyi Makinde. And I think there is another meeting that was held over the weekend, which is reported in the media between Makinde, and we know Makinde and Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State are the two remaining PDP governors. So perhaps they want to take their own factions, they want to merge it with the faction of NNPP, because NNPP itself is factionalized. So they want to take the faction of PDP belonging to Makinde and Bala Mohammed, merge it with or enter into a working alliance with the faction of Rabi Musa Kwankwansi, Rabi Musa Kwankwanso in NNPP. And then Seriake Dixon is also bringing his own newly registered party into the alliance. And perhaps they are also reaching out to a number of other opposition parties. Whatever they are bringing to the table, it should not be
Mr. Ojo, my apologies. I'll need to cut in because of a break. We need to go on a break. When I come back, I'm going to ask you pointed questions concerning what we should be looking out for by, say, 30th of May. It's going to be straight questions. I would expect your straight answer. We're back in just a moment. Stay with us. We're 1 month away from when the primaries doors will be officially open for all political parties. So there's so much going on in terms of alignment and realignment across political parties. Jide Ojo is always a guy in-house making sure it brings us up to speed as to his projection. Mr. Ojo, I want us to do something really quick on this one. And I would like you to look into your crystal ball on this, because you are landing on your thoughts, but I want to cut that, so let's go straight to business on some things. And that is your possible projections You know, we do this projection and analysis. Sometimes we bring you to talk about ministers, the ones that have done well, the ones that have not done well, and you give us. So your possible projection, I want you to maybe tell us who you think is going to get the ticket of the ADC as president and vice presidential candidate. Let's start with the ADC. Quick questions. I have like 5 political parties I expect you to give us.
There's no two way about it. Although it's dicey, but today, as at today, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is in a pole position to win the ADC ticket as the presidential candidate, and perhaps with Peter Obi as a running mate. But I think Peter Obi is looking for a platform where he will be the main candidate and not just a running mate, because his obedient movement have said they don't want him to play a second fiddle. But from all indications, Atiku Abubakar will most likely win the ticket of ADC, except he withdraws from the race and endorses someone else.
Okay. Okay, so I'm writing it down. Atiku, Peter Obi, with an asterisk now. Let's go to APC. What do you think is happening with the APC? Do you think President Bola Tinubu is going to keep Kashim Shettima as his vice? Do you think that changes?
I think so. I think so. I think that thus far they've made a very good team, and you don't change a winning team.
Okay, so maybe the issue of Muslim tickets will be an issue yet again. PDP, this is the most complicated one. So let me make it easy for you. If the Wike group wins, eventually, if the Wike group proceeds to be the one that will produce candidate, what do you think will happen? President and vice presidential candidate, what are you looking at?
I've not even seen anybody not seeing presidential ambition under PDP. I doubt. Wike would have been the one, but I don't think Wike will rise or will pick the ticket to fight with his boss. He has said for 2027 he's going to work with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So whether his faction eventually succeed in getting the nod of the court, I think they will have somebody on the ballot, but that person will just be a weak candidate that will not be able to pose serious or potent force against Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That's my own reading of PDP as it were.
I think it's almost safe to say that if Wike goes on the ballot, it's as good as he's going to step down to endorse the president. It almost looks like that.
Exactly.
It's also a strategy. It's politics
exactly.
we're talking about here. Anything is a game. So however he wants to play his game, and
he may not see Geoffrey. He may not contest. Because if he's going to contest now, he has to resign from the cabinet,
and he needs that power
by 31st. And I don't think Wike wants to give up the FCT yet. He has an agenda in FCT. Remember, he claims that he was brought in by Asiwaju to get FCT for the president in 2027 and at least Rivers State. That's why he has even gone ahead to establish a radio station in Rivers State. So Rivers, for the sake of Rivers State and FCT, he will not resign. He will just prompt one of his allies and say he should be the presidential candidate, and that will just be a window dressing kind of.
Yeah. I want to be quick. That radio station, I don't know whether they are broadcasting on terrestrial, which by NBC standard is going to be illegal, by the way, because they can't give leisure.
It will be legal.
So if the Makinde group, let me bullet point. If the Makinde group wins, what are you looking at? Labour Party as well, NNPP. Just quick one. President and vice president. We have just 60 seconds.
Labour Party is also in crisis now. We don't know which faction will triumph at the end of the day. Is it Nnamdi Usman's faction? Because it's the Nnamdi Usman's faction that is going ahead with congresses and convention, and then. But I think they will throw off somebody, but that person will not be a strong candidate. For
just a participant.
faction, it will be Shehu Makinde on the ballot. it will be Seyi Makinde on the ballot. He has not eaten the fact that he has presidential ambition. So it will be Seyi Makinde for his faction. But if it's Wike's faction, they will look for a stooge of Wike to be on the ballot. But let me speak quickly to APGA, ABGA. ABGA had already said that they endorse the president for 2027.
We're totally out of time. We're totally out of time. Yes, Mr. Ojo will bring you back. We already know what ABGA does. It's the government in power, they align. They don't like trouble. Jide Ojo, public affairs analyst, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Always a pleasure, Jeffrey.
And that's it on the program. Thanks for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. Bye-bye.